Reset TV, welcome all. It's your man gravitating away, and I hopefully think we can have a civil understanding right here on this show. And this is a well-crafted, organized episode I got for y'all today. I was paying attention to Monster Nation's channel, Rockness Monster as he calls himself. The brother definitely seems to be, as he say he is, God body. I respect his principles. I hear the math he lays down, and I'm definitely picking it up. I love rational minds, non-biased rational minds. And Monster Nation chimed in for the better part of 8+ days about what Fat Joe said on the Math Hoffa podcast about the so-called FBA movement. And as long as he was saying things followers of the FBA movement liked that he was saying, then he was down and ready for the cause. The minute he gave certain statements that differed from those followers of the FBA movements, y'all should go and check out his last drop video, which I thought was very well balanced. It was a proper civil discourse. But check out the commenters who basically ridiculed this man. Now all of a sudden he's ill-informed, he doesn't know anything, and that motivated me to do this episode for y'all. Whether you agree with me or not, I'm always a fan of just talking to the people. And if you think I'm wrong, I welcome it. I just don't accept slander. By all means, I do not accept slander. So while Nasheed stated he stated that his aim is to amass a black following, he wasn't known to most blacks outside of California, where he lives in South Central Los Angeles, until he affiliated with the white clan doctrine of divide and conquer. I say this again, he's affiliating himself with the white clan doctrine of divide and conquer. Tariq is a very interesting figurehead. He tried to make it out through the rap roots. That didn't work out. He was now this relationship guru. That didn't work out. You can check all of this out. It's all verified. He had many other movements he tried to put in place. I call them grifts and scams and hustles. But, for the sake of argument, we'll call it movements. They just didn't pan out. So Tariq channeled the bitterness that we have as a people about all types of things. But he knew, as he claims himself, he's a race baiter. And that's something that's always going to trickle down dollars down your pocket, basically, is if you touch base on that. So Tariq saw something that the ADOS movement with Yvette Carnell and them was pushing, and he took their mantra, their core foundational aim that they had, and he utilized it, changed the words around, and came up with Foundational Black Americans. That's his actual movement. It's trademarked. Y'all can keep arguing with me, but all of this is documented. So this small, ill-organized and for-profit, seemingly anti-black cult has produced arguments that range from openly bigoted and racist stereotypes to the more insidious and purportedly science-based claims about certain dark populations that resonate with Eurocentric extremist views of the 20th century. It bears repeating, these claims do not have the support of the intellectual community, nor favors amongst the majority of the black population here in the US, whom does have lineage to chattel slavery in the Americas. And the little research that has been conducted in this area resoundingly refutes the FBA movement's ideology. In fact, the vast majority of behavioral studies demonstrate that inevitably, right, and inevitably, this so-called movement which has no true designed aim, nor no true governing body or selected political representatives, proves it is a fraud in the making, and its divisiveness could easily spark another rift in internal black racial affairs. One could call it tribal. You know, it's a tribal angst amongst one another. While the history of this anti-African argument has roots in clanism, today this line of thinking is primarily propagated by extremists like Tariq and his FBA group, who are cloaking themselves as so-called, conservationalists, environmentalists, all the ists and isms you could think of, down to the so-called nationalist movements, right? They do all this to make their arguments more, relatable, but hear me out. Historians refer to this phenomena as the greening of hate. See, the individuals making these arguments are backed by many of the most prominent anti-African groups and founders, several of which, by the way, y'all, have flagged and aligned groups like FBAs amongst white supremacist hate groups. Again, many prominent anti-African groups and founders are now aligned, seemingly, with white supremacist hate groups. That's what the FBA's optics are seemingly, right, depicted out here in the world of the so-called internet. This is what's turning people off. It's your approach at things. Anti-immigrant groups cloaking themselves in nationalism to push a xenophobic agenda is not new. While they're scientifically, they are scientifically meritless, y'all. These arguments are basically scientifically meritless, historically meritless, politically meritless, and are no longer welcomed within the mainstream black unity movement. They continue to fuel the vitriol. And bad as Tariq Nasheed can be, he's giving y'all strategical decisions that you choose as individuals to take on. It's almost like a draconian-like uncivil approach to conversations that ends in disagreements. You heard it all. If we don't agree, you're a tether. You're all type of name. You fleet. You could have been born and raised here, have a background that dates 200 plus years. As long as you disagree, they give you the clanism approach to everything. Ridicule, stereotypical names. They would have you think a lynch mob was on the rise. Seriously, the minute you disagree, you would think a lynch mob was on the attack of you in any space you enter online that's dealing with the so-called FBA topics. But then again, you realize these are internet warriors, but not recall grassroots contributors lending a hand nor getting their feet wet in the actual work. That's my thing that I love reiterating. These are internet warriors, not real grassroots contributors, lending a hand nor getting their feet wet in the actual work of so-called building. In conclusion, instead, this FBA vitriol could actively harm the unity movement by alienating and erasing both potential and existing allies, members, and leaders who are from quote-unquote immigrant backgrounds, people who have been and still are pivotal in the climb to bridge the gap of all blacks in the diaspora. At the very least, our relationships with one another, right? If you didn't believe in anything else, you would have to understand what's at stake here. It's our relationships with one another. Not the gaslighting that FBA would have you believe that everybody's out here just attacking each other, slandering one another. That's called gaslighting, my friends. That's what that is. Most of you cannot even give us real world examples of this disdain you now claim to face all of a sudden. You hold cordial relationships outside of the internet with the same backgrounds you spill out your hate to online. How does that work? You get online, you call everybody in their mama's tethers, all type of names to degrade them. Then when you're offline, right, you have these cordial relationships with folks that don't mean you no harm and you the same. So how does that work? Has Tariq put a battery on your back? Or is it what I've been saying, the lack of understanding and doing research? Using your sentiments and emotions to provoke something in you that needs not be spoken of, meaning the bitterness that we obtain, right, through whatever it is that we go through, you still have to maintain composure so you're not just lashing out on people that can affect an entire group, y'all. Anti-immigrant sentiments were a staple of mainstream Eurocentric extremism in the 19th and 20th centuries, but so were eugenics, right? And it's like, come on. The extremist groups now hawking misleading and easily debunked Tariq Nasheed's arguments are not acting in good faith. Even when we bring you facts, you say they're lies. By pushing this agenda, you only make stronger the so-called white supremacist machine your founder Tariq claimed to be fighting against. I repeat, by pushing this agenda, you only make stronger the so-called white supremacist machine your founder Tariq claims to be fighting against. Because if ever so divide and conquer worked, we're showing how it works. This internal turmoil that's somehow growing on the internet. In this 21st century, by necessity, a multiracial, multi-generational, international, and anti-elitist movement whose diversity only makes it stronger should be the mentality that we all adopt. And that's how I'm gonna leave y'all, man. If you like anything I said, man, tap in, like, share, comment, subscribe. And if you didn't like, I would like to think you're an adult and we could have a conversation. But slander will not be tolerated. This was Gravitating Away on Reset TV, and I won't be speaking on this matter much. If I'm invited on panels, I'll do my thing, but on my channel, this is how I'm gonna lay it down. This is how I'm gonna lay it down. I gotta give y'all the raw, real. And what y'all did to Monster Nation's channel over there, he was real as long as he was agreeing with all of y'all. The minute he disagreed, y'all slandering his name, calling him all types of stuff. Man, shame on y'all, man. Shame on y'all for that one. But I'ma holla at you.